Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that like button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Today's story is big, it's heavy, and it affects many of us. So grab your tea and let's dive into what's unfolding. There's a new development in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and his legal team. According to his lawyer, Aloy Ejimakor, a global plot has been exposed ahead of Kanu's trial due on July 18th. This revelation, if accurate, raises major questions about politics, justice, and international influence in Nigeria. Let's untangle what we know so far, why it matters, and what you should keep your eyes on. Here's what's happening. Aloy Ejimakor, acting as Kanu's counsel, claims that behind the scenes there is a coordinated plan involving international actors to influence the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. He says this isn't just a domestic legal issue. According to him, global forces are at work, affecting the legal process, the media narrative, and possibly the outcome. The video clip of his claim is circulating online. Why this is serious, if true, this shifts the case from being simply about one man and the Nigerian state to being part of a larger geopolitical, legal, and human rights terrain. Kanu already faces charges of treason and terrorism in Nigeria. Now his lawyer is saying the case is being manipulated or influenced by non-domestic interests. That brings in questions of sovereignty, external pressure, fairness of trial, and the integrity of the judicial system. Let's break down the major threads of the story. The trial date. Kanu's trial is set, or is being set, for July 18th. This date has significance because it gives a time pressure window for all the parties involved, the defense, prosecution, public, media, to mobilize. With Ejimakor raising the global plot issue now, it means the clock is ticking on not just legal filings, but on public awareness and narrative framing. What Ejimakor claims. He argues that the prosecution, some intelligence or state security actors, media players and possibly foreign interests are coordinating. He has suggested that certain acts, abduction, rendition, denial of rights, already undermine the trial's legitimacy. For example, he has called the legal process null and void if it arises from a manifestly criminal act like rendition. He says that allowing international influence undermines Nigeria's democracy and judicial process. Why the global part matters. Usually, legal trials in Nigeria are domestic matters. But when you claim global plot, you're saying external governments, organizations or actors are involved, funding, intelligence sharing, media campaigns, litigation strategy. If that is happening, then this trial is being played out on a stage much larger than Federal High Court in Abuja. That has huge implications. It affects Nigeria's image, its legal system, regional politics, especially in the southeast where the Igbo are dominant, and even foreign relations. Potential motives behind the plot. We can speculate, based on what Ejimakor is signaling, some of the motives. To silence or weaken Kanu and IPOB, especially if their movement is seen as a threat. To shape public opinion globally in a way that the Nigerian government can claim legitimacy in prosecuting Kanu. To divert attention from domestic flaws in the judicial or security system by blaming foreign interference. To leverage Kanu's case in regional or international negotiations, perhaps diaspora, human rights groups, foreign governments have a stake. What this means for Nigeria. If the trial is perceived as unfair, Nigeria's judiciary and democracy may lose credibility. The Southeast, where Kanu has strong support, could interpret this as yet another layer of injustice, feeding tensions. International human rights organizations may pay more attention, potentially affecting foreign investment, relations, and donor support. Media narratives will matter a lot. Whoever frames this story first will influence public opinion. What viewers should watch for. Would there be official statements from the Nigerian government or judiciary responding to Ejimakor's claims? Will international entities, diplomatic missions, human rights NGOs, comment on this alleged global plot? How would the prosecution respond in court? Would they address the allegation of external interference? What happens on July 18th? Would the trial proceed? Would there be delays? Would there be protest? How the media covers this, are the claims being treated as serious, dismissed as conspiracy, or something in between? Now while we're at it, there's also a connection to broader issues. For instance, the case of Kanu is not just legal, it's political, ethnic, regional. The Southeast has had grievances for decades about marginalization. The question of secession, of rights to self-determination, of how state power is used, all of that is tied in. The global plot allegation adds another layer, that forces outside Nigeria may be shaping how this all plays out. Let me also share some thoughts I have, and you can comment below with your views. If Ejimakor's claim is valid and properly evidenced, we're looking at a very serious disruption of Nigeria's notion of justice. But if the claim is exaggerated or unverified, it risks being dismissed and could undermine legitimate concerns about the trial's fairness. So the key will be evidence, transparency, and how this plays out publicly. I'd like to ask you, what do you think? Do you believe there's a global element to this case? Or is this a strategy by the defense to draw attention and put pressure on the government and judiciary? Drop your comment below, I'll be reading and engaging. Before I continue, don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so when I upload follow-up videos on this story, you'll be first to know. Let me continue with how this might impact the region and international community. Because Kanu has British citizenship, there's already a foreign dimension. According to reports, his arrest and rendition raised international eyebrows. So adding a claim of a global plot is perhaps taking that dimension further. If foreign government or intelligence services are involved, then this isn't just Nigeria's business, there are diplomatic, legal and human rights consequences. For example, if a foreign government is either supporting Kanu's movement or supporting his prosecution, or both, then Nigeria may face external pressure, human rights bodies, international courts, diplomatic roles. That could impact Nigeria's external relationships, foreign direct investment, image abroad. On the ground, people in the Southeast might see this as validation of their suspicion that the state, with help from international allies, is suppressing their movement. That could increase tensions, protests, violent reactions. For the Nigerian state and judiciary, this means they need to tread carefully. They need to show fairness, impartiality, transparency, because any misstep will be seized by observers as proof of what Ejimakor is flagging. On the defense side, this is a strong narrative. If you claim global plotting, you shift the story from Nnamdi Kanu is a domestic terrorist to Nnamdi Kanu is caught in international power play. That can attract sympathy, global media, activists. It also adds pressure on the prosecution to be beyond reproach. On the prosecution side, they must ensure they are not perceived as being influenced by foreign interest or political pressure. It will be in their interest to show that the case is strictly Nigerian law, Nigerian courts, Nigerian justice, no external meddling. One practical issue to watch, will the trial be delayed again? Kanu's case has seen multiple delays, changes of judges and disruptions. If this global plot claim triggers more complications, we may see further postponements, change of venue, security concerns. Also media coverage and public discourse, you and I, watching from Nigeria or abroad, need to follow carefully. Not every claim will be fully verified, some might be strategic. Always ask, what's the source? What's the evidence? What does the other side say? Let me wrap up this segment with what I think is the key takeaway. This story is important not just for Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB supporters, it's important for everyone in Nigeria. Because it touches on the rule of law, external influence, minority rights, how the state uses power, how the world watches Nigeria. Whether you support Kanu, oppose him, are neutral, this case sends signals about how the country handles major, sensitive trials. And when the defense lawyer himself is talking about global plots, it raises the stakes. So again, like, subscribe, click the bell. And keep your eyes here because I'll bring updates when the prosecution or government responds, when court dates shift, or when new evidence comes forward. If you've got questions or you want me to dig deeper, for example, who exactly might be involved in this global plot, or what evidence has been presented so far, drop a comment and I'll cover that in the next video. Thanks for staying with me. Till the next update, stay informed, stay alert, and take care.